Welcome to Varsity Sports. We have our game previews for this week of the games that I think are the biggest of the weekend. And first off, like and subscribe. If you're new here, don't be afraid to comment. The algorithm loves that. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. First game we got up, as you saw in the thumbnail, Kansas State at Kansas, the Sunflower Showdown. Kansas leads this all-time series, by the way, which a lot of people forget about when they're not very tuned in. But Kansas leads 65, 5-50. The 5 is ties, but they've only won once, or they haven't won since 2008, and they've only won 4 times in this rivalry since 1992. The line is Kansas State -10, over-under is 57.5. And it is crazy with how bad Kansas has been that they still lead this much in the series, but people forget really how bad Kansas State football was before Bill Snyder. So let's get into Kansas's keys. Jason Bean has been fine, but he's been banged up. He's a little bit iffy. And you had him go out last week, and there's been talk this week of him in practice by coaches. They've been like, yeah, he's getting better. There's not really, which I understand, you don't really want to say who's going to start to try to throw off Kansas State as much as possible, but they obviously, Kleiman will have them prepared for both. But if you have Cole Ballard go, he didn't really perform well last week in 9 of 20 passes. I mean, he did have to come in, and he's insanely inexperienced to be able to close that game out against Texas Tech, which obviously did not go their way, but it looked like it was going to go their way, and it just ultimately didn't. But whoever plays, you got to be able to be consistent, and you got to be able to pass the ball. No more inconsistencies. Even with Bean, he's been a little bit inconsistent, but you have been well at home. But the problem is this is a lot. You did have the Oklahoma win, but Oklahoma, that's a topic for another day. But for your defense, Kansas, it's complete opposite of what you need to do offensively. You got to slow that potent run game. Avery Johnson and Will Howard, dogs, and you got the guys hitting the edges. I mean, Colin Klein's going to come in with some packages just built up to run all over you, which do not be surprised by. But the hard thing is this whole quarterback thing has got this whole game thrown into a whirlwind when I feel like Kansas fans felt like coming into this season that this was the year that they could beat Kansas State. And it still kind of is. You're at home. You've broken the Oklahoma streak. You've broken the back-to-back conference win streaks, the win in Ames. I mean, so much has happened under Leipold that just hasn't happened in the past 20 years that it does feel nice coming into this game. And you do have home field advantage, like I said, and Kansas State's 2 worst rushing games have been on the road, but those also were to Texas and Missouri, who, as we know, are two top 10 teams, and one of those is vying for the college football playoff. So that's a tall task to ask, and it's going to be tough. But Leipold, if you can end all these streaks in one season, I mean, man, it's literally, if Kansas wins this game, don't even think about the Oklahoma game. You know, they tore the goalpost off, threw it in the lake and everything. If they beat Kansas State, Lawrence might explode. I mean, this is going to be great, but Kansas State, their keys, it's pretty simple for Kansas State. I have slow and steady. Literally keep it slow and steady, run it down their throat. Don't overthink it. Slowly hammer away with that run game. Don't try to get cute. Don't do anything over the top. You can overpower this Kansas team and either have an inexperienced quarterback you're going against, or a shaken up Jason Bean, who you can get a couple of hits on and maybe get some wear and tear in him over the game, and eventually you just break out and the game closes on itself. But my official pick for this game, I'm going Kansas State. Shocker. I mean, I know, but it would be fun to see. My dog made an appearance. It would be fun to see Kansas get a win in this rivalry with everything that's been going on. But Kansas State is one of the best teams in I would say they're easily a top 15 team in the country in terms of a power rating, in my opinion. They've just played some really dead-gum good football teams that other teams haven't played. And I just think they're going to be able to overpower them. They're going to be able to run all over them. Now, I would say that, but this has been the season of magic for Kansas, even with all the injury problems. And you just had Daniel say that he's coming back. So you never know. But my official pick is Kansas State.